We are back and welcome to another episode of Off the Leash, brought to you by the Racing Post in association with Premier Greyhound Racing. We are up to episode 50. Tony Bullen joins us. Tony, raise your bat. We've made it to episode 50.
Yeah, that's so same as my age, Dave. So 50 not out. That'll do. I'll take that.
I'm not going to challenge that because you've got the grey hairs to prove it as well. How you been, mate?
Yeah, all right. Yeah, we're starting to fire in a few winners on a regular basis rather than 1 week hit, 1 week miss. So that's what it's all about. And the racing's been superb.
You're very modest because I won't be. We've gone back to back. So last week again, we did the business. Breton's Boy and Gay Time Elm are both heavily backed and both doing the business at Romford on Friday night. We're going to look back on last week's big finals, then we'll give you this week's best bets as well. Now, we are recording this on Wednesday morning, so we're a little bit fast out the boxes for the Midlands Puppy Derby, the Premier Greyhound Racing Monmore Puppy Derby. Is £20,000 up for grabs, but we will pick that one up next week. We've not quite got the entries and the trap draws, but we'll have a little bit of a chat about that, any pups that have caught our eye in recent weeks that are likely to take part. But you are, of course, here on the Racing Post YouTube channel. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe. Let us know if you've been following the selections and backing at those all-important winners. It's that time of the year, isn't it? We're at the back end of February, leading up to March. The dreaded C word is upon us, Cheltenham. And you're in the right place here on the Racing Post YouTube channel because we will have plenty for you to steer you onto the winners at the festival. Just to give you an overview of what the week looks like right now, Monday's the front page, Tuesday the sweet spot, here on a Wednesday off the leash. Thursdays, we're picking the brains of the finest football betting out there in the assist. And then we've got Friday in the know. So we've got you covered, whether you like dog racing, golf, football, horse racing. It is all here on the Racing Post YouTube channel. Right, let's get stuck into it then. And we'll start last week on Thursday night. It was the Arena Racing Company Northern Puppy Derby final. Now, all eyes was on trap 2 in Droopy's Deploy. Sensational in the semi-final out of trap 5. He now switched to trap 2. And coming into this race, Tony, there were question marks about him. How would he run the bend? How would he break? He broke moderately, but he showed all his class and guts. 28.56, the winner out of trap 2, Droopy's Deploy. Swift Bullseye in trap 5, the ground that you flagged up as one to keep qualifying. Maybe one for the forecast as well. Ballymac Lucia on the inside in trap 1. First ever Irish trained winner here for Robert Gleeson, and he had to dig deep.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he was sensational in the semi-finals. Improved the bomb for that first sighting, but Connections clearly got a nice prospect on their hands. I mean, this Swift Bullseye dog, I mean, he is a little bit underrated. He's quirky, make no mistake. He is quirky. But he showed the pace, put the pace to the race. There was a bit of trouble in behind that put paid to Yahoo, Maisie, Greenwell, Tyson and Ballymac Axel. But Droopy's Deploy just got up the inside at the third bend. I think Swift Bullseye just hits the brakes and more focuses on Ballymac Lucia. But I think the writing was on the wall in any case, and Droopy's Deploy just extended up the home straight to beat Swift Bullseye. It was a gallant runner-up, Dave.
Yeah, heading into the competition, trainer Robert Gleeson, who certainly knows the time of day, Irish Derby winning trainer, suggested that Monmore might be on the agenda. Since then, plans have changed. Fair play to them for coming over. They came to Newcastle without a trial. They go home with the loot, £12,500, but we won't see Robert at Monmore. The Kirby Memorial at Limerick, which of course is worth €80,000, is on the agenda, but I've got a funny feeling that we'll see Mr. Gleeson back at Toaster for the Ground Derby a little bit later this year. Right, we're now going to head to Monmore on Saturday night, a race full of railers, a red-hot favourite in trap 4, Proper Heiress, another one that was sensational in the semi-final and had question marks. You know, was out in trap 4. This is a railer, but a classy railer. And this was over in a matter of strides. Absolutely sensational. An incredible time on the board as well, 27.59. The referee could have waved this one off at the first bend, Tony.
Yeah, this was the thing. He didn't have the ideal draw, but there wasn't a great deal of natural early pace in the race. So it offset. I mean, it extremely offset when he come away like a scalded cat. One of the fastest times I've seen at Monmore in many a year. But you could see the dog done it from start to finish. It was impeccable run from Proper Heiress. He was extremely impressive at Hove as well when winning the Olympic last year. He's a proper dog day because he starts and stays, and that's 2 boxes that you want ticked in any dog.
Yeah, and I've got to say, coming into it, I thought, well, Monmore's a speed track. This dog doesn't lack speed, but I kind of had him pigeonholed a little bit as more of a Derby dog, 500-metre dog rather than a 480, which are 2 very different things. But you can't argue it. His semi-final performance was electric. And in the final, he beat Gary the Isle, finished second. Iams of Sydney finished third. This was absolutely electric, and he just relentless off the front, pace to the corner, pace to the third bench, strong coming home. He looks every inch a Derby dog as well.
Yeah, I mean, the start a sprinter would have been proud of, and that really did set up. I mean, you don't beat dogs like Gary the Isle in clean run races by 5 1/4 lengths, and then the time comes up in the frame. I mean, the others have run their race, really, Dave, if you look at the overall clockings.
Yeah, and one thing I'll say, when he came on the scene, proper Heiress, very similar to the Droopy's plunge dog as well, Patrick Jansen's. 2 grands that are going to be big players in this year's Derby. They can learn to cope with a draw. This dog was diving towards the inside at the start of his career. He's now done it out of 6, albeit it moved inside. He's done it out of 4, albeit moved inside, but not that violent veer inside that could just put you out of a race in a matter of strides.
Yeah, and exactly that. And he's not one-dimensional. You think he's just, he's an out-and-out front runner, proper Heiress. I don't think that's the case. I think he's a dog that could sit second, third, and even overcome adversity, Dave. So that's why he's going to be an exciting dog going forward.
Absolutely. 2 brilliant winners, Cat 1 action last week, Droopy's Deploy and Proper Heiress. We look forward to seeing both of those, and I think they'll both be players in this year's Derby. Right then, we are a little bit early. We've come before the Monmore Puppy Derby entries and draws. But what's caught your eye, Tony? We don't know who's been entered. We don't know what the trap draw is going to be. We know dogs that have run at Newcastle. We know dogs that have been running in trials and trial stakes at Monmore. Anything catching the eye that you're hoping's in, you think's going to be in, and you might be a player?
Well, I mean, obviously, we've seen the trial stakes. I mean, I thought Droopy's Berries was impressive when beating Droopy's Aladdin for Kevin Hutton last week on debut. It moved well in trials, but to put it into practice under race conditions is always a major step for a pup. This Romeo Tomcat's hasn't done much wrong. So I think it's going to be a hotly contested event. The dog that I'd like to see entered, though, Dave, is a dog that we just see in the Newcastle Puppy Derby. I think that Swift Bullseye dog would be suited to Monmore. I think the switch would suit him. He's one of those dogs that needs sort of messing around with his head, keep him on his toes. But I think he could sight a dog that could ruffle a few feathers if he was entered for the Monmore race.
Yeah, it'd be interesting, wouldn't it? It'd be very, very interesting. I agree that he'd probably appreciate the switch around. I really like one of the dogs you've mentioned there, Droopy's Aladdin. Now, I know he got turned over on Saturday night, picked up by Droopy's Berries, which is a really, really good run. And a little bit of a concern was him veering towards the inside. But this dog's only had 2 races in his life, and he has got electric early pace. And that is what you need at Monmore. I know we've seen recent winners kind of coming from off the speed, the likes of Brady's Bullet, etc. But I do want to be off the front here. And if he gets trap 1 a couple of times, Droopy's Aladdin, I think he's going to be very, very hard to beat because that early pace will prove a potent weapon. And a big fan of Romeo Tomcat as well. He'd probably be the sort of dog that's going to be hard to keep out the frame. But a brilliant competition, dates back to 1943, formerly known as the Midlands Puppy Derby, now known as the £20,000 Premier Greyhound Racing Puppy Derby. You'll be able to watch all of that on the PGR website, where to find the stream. And of course, behind the red button on Sky Sports Racing. Starts on Saturday night. There's £20,000 up for grabs. Always a big competition. So we look forward to that. Right. We have been in fantastic form. You've been in fantastic form, Tony, as ever. We're up to episode 50. We're firing on all cylinders. Last week, back in the net, Breton's Boy. Where are we going to this week for this week's nap?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Romford, Dave. As I say, I like the look of Yahoo Lowes in race 8. It's a Golden Sprint. They've got numerous Golden Sprint trial stakes on the card, but I think this is a really good opportunity for Yahoo Lowes. Been trading blows with Bacon Roll, who's been really firing on all cylinders on home soil, but she's got a good draw on the rails. I think the switch to the rails is going to be helpful. She's pretty consistent on the clock. I think she holds her position, turns the screw from halfway. So Yahoo Lowes for Paul Burr. Track 1, 8:36 Romford Friday.
Right, well, I'm going to Romford as well. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Gaytime Elmer did the business for us out of trap one last week. I'm going to go with another trap one. Queen Sinead, 9.28 at Romford. She won the BGBF Puppy Cup at Oxford. And you mentioned Bacon Roll. That is the danger out in trap 6. But a nice draw here on the fence. I think 2's going to leave plenty of room up the inside for Queen Sinead. She just needs to be level at the turn. But she's trialled well. I think she's open to any amount of improvement. And she's got what you need at Romford, the fast start and the big early pace. So Queen Sinead for in the 9.28. Yahoo Lowles in the 8.36 for Tony. Let's see if we can do it again, back to back. See if we can land a hat trick this week at Romford. Right, well, that is it, Tony. It's short and sweet. We're looking forward to Saturday night at Monmore. We'll pick that up next week. What you got planned for the week? Just watching loads of racing, hopefully betting loads of winners, I'm hoping.
Yeah, same as usual, Dave. I noticed when you go on holiday for a couple of weeks, 2 weeks away from this sport, you've missed a lot. So you've always got to stay focused, finger on the pulse, if you're going to keep up the speed in this speed sport.
Look at that. I said back loads of winners. Just carry on as we usually do, So there you go. Right, we will see you next week. Do remember to enjoy your racing. Gamble responsibly. We'll see you next time.